the campaign trail of the different political aspirants. Now, yesterday, the bad states of roads in Kole Village, Lango region and other parts of the northern district of Uganda have made it difficult for Amuriat Oboy to be able to access some of those areas to the point that he actually left out Oyam from his trail of campaigns. Now, when we look at what is happening, he's not the only one who had issues. Tumukunde is also the other person who had issues with transversing the different regions because of the bad roads. And yesterday, Amuriat Oboy was with his team and the journalists who were following him, and one of the cars got stuck. Amuriat himself had to come out of his car and help pull that car out of the mud. And now here's where people look at what is happening in the government that has led the country for 35 years, and they ask themselves, again, my first question comes in, will they catch up with the promises that they're giving people now? Have they done enough to be able to stay in government even when the opposition is showing that these are the exact things that we're talking about, the bad roads, and we say if you vote us in, we'll make it better? Let's look at that story. Our reporter Amuriat is moving with the FDC camp, and she brought the story, and then we'll be back to discuss the details.
Patrick Oboy Amuriat yakwatidde ekibiina kya FDC bendera ku kifo ky'omukulembeze w'eggwanga olunaku olwaleero alabisenga avudde ku by'okunoonya akalulu nga kati alabisenga yazze okusindika emmotoka y'ekibiina kye.
Those of Ayuba and the other guys, you come and help them.
You guys who are putting on shoes.
Yes.
Honorable, why are you part of the team that is pushing the car?
Well, I have got to increase the capacity of the team so that we get this car quite heavy to get it out of this wall.
Ono agamba nti enguudo embi ze zimu ku bisoomooza byasanze nga singa awangula akalulu bye bimu ku byayagala okutandikirako.
This is a horrible experience. The roads are impassable. We have had to keep pushing the vehicles everywhere we go. And I think this will be my government emphasis when we come to power. Get the federal roads fixed, get the produce out of the villages to the market, get our rural population to access services so that they may not die due to common diseases in the villages because they can't get to the hospital.
Oluguudo luno lusangibwa ku kyalo ky'Ekkole nga wakava ku luguudo oludda mu kibuga kya Lira. Wabula luno lulimu ebinnya bingi ng'era enkuba bw'etonnya gubula asala.
Now look at this.
Abatuuze bagamba nti bategezezza abakulembeze baabwe enfunda nnyingi eziwerera ddala okubadduukirira wabula nga mpaawo kikolebwa.
We have done that, all those things, but as the district chairperson, as the leaders of the district, they didn't react something about what we have done.
Kino kitataaganyizza kampeyini z'ekibiina kya FDC nga bano babadde bamaliriza ebitundu by'e Lango olunaku olwaleero olwoboolekere ebitundu by'e Acholi. Wabula ne mu kuyingira Acholi ku luguudo lw'e Paddle enguudo embi ze zimwanirizza. Edith Nabagereka ne Shamira Nagawa STV Select ey'enjawulo.
There you go, you can see the bad roads that we're speaking about. And while that story was playing, we were discussing here with my colleagues and we were wondering, why does it have to take a political season for these politicians to go back to their villages and figure out what is not right and advocate for them? Here's the thing about advocacy. You don't have to wait for you to start looking for a political position for you to advocate for these things. Even as a defiance opposition, you can start advocating now and keep asking for the government to do those those things for your people, Simon and Tariq. Bad roads are one of the things that we've seen. All the politicians that have gone to ask for votes, Tumukunde being one of them, has complained about the poor road network and the fact that they have failed to reach where they're supposed to reach, and they've failed to reach some villages because of poor road network. And here we were in the studios thinking that the reason why these people in the villages wouldn't be able to reach their political aspirants would be because they don't have access to radios and TVs, and they don't have access to electricity. But it seems like those were the least of our worries if we look at what is happening. Because see, once a village has instituted itself to be able to start a living, right? They're contributing something to the country. And in contribution, I mean agriculture-wise, because we know Uganda is a food hub. So a village like that could have food resources that it wants to get out of their villages to bring to the other parts of the country. But how are they going to do that with such roads? And I am condemning the political aspirants and politicians who wait to go back to their villages at the time of seeking votes. 5 years is too much.
Well, Latifa and Tariq, one of the things that President Museveni put emphasis on from 1986, one, era naye azaabyogera ekisooka eddala security n'enguudo. President Museveni yali akajja mu bukulembeze bw'ensi yattu Uganda. Waliwo enguudo 7,900 kilometers ezaali only tarmacked. I mean ezaali tarmacked. 1,900 zezali ezamara. Then 1,786 kilometers zo zaali mu mbeera mbi nnyo nnyo nnyo. We twogerera kati 2 emitwalo 809 kilometers zeziri tarmacked. So kitegeeza nti alina watuuse. Bw'okomparinga wa buyasanga ensi ne watuuse kati kilometers eziri tarmacked, there is a great improvement. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot to do, there's a lot to be done. And it's going to find a very big challenge, especially during this manifesto. Ekisanja kwagala otambuza ekisanja kya 2026. Olw'ensonga nti kata kyagamba ngenda kukola bwenti. Tulina enguudo wano mu Uganda, kati nga bw'olulabye olwo, nga terikombanga nakamala. So kigenda muzibuwalira nnyo okugamba nti ngenda tuteekamu ki maramu oba ngenda dukola kolas. Kata kyasuubiza alina kugamba bugambi nti kati either biganyi
oba tractor hiyo mutandike.
Yes, because 35 years you can't convince anybody kati nakingenda okukola mu myaka 5 bwe kiba kiganyi myaka 3 kitegeeza osobola kikola myaka 5 naye bw'otunuulira ebintu one things that determined a development of an area biri ebintu nga 3. Era bino abalonzi njagala kuba bikootinge. Oluguudo, amasannyalaze, amazzi. Bw'ebanga ebintu ebisatu bikyalakinga mu kitundu kyo, kitegeeza ate gwe you're extremely underdeveloped. Naye bw'oba olinako oluguudo nga kiri mu kamalamu, kitegeeza there is easy access of whatever you're producing in the village, okireta mu town ofunemu ku ssente. Bw'ofuna ku ssente, you are developing yourself. Kitegeeza there is that promise nti osobola okukola ki okwejjayo. Naye bw'obeera mu kyalo nga kirimu amasannyalaze, kirimu amazzi, kirimu n'oluguudo nga lumu maramu, naye ng'okyali mu mbeera mbi, awo tojja kunenya gavumenti. Naye bw'ebanga ebisatu biraakika mu kitundu kyo, you have a right to blame the government.
But why would we blame the government though? You know, here's the thing. We have members of parliament in these different districts, right? In the whole country, we have members of parliament. And what are members of parliament? They are like the messengers from the government. From God, we have prophets, right? So they're like the prophets from the government sent to the people. But how much lobbying are they doing is the question I'm asking. How much are they the advocates of the people? Do they take the message back? Do they ask?
Ebintu ebisatu ebanga balina omubaka wa parliament abakiikirira naye ng'ebintu ebisatu bikyalakinga mu kitundu kyabwe kitegeeza omubaka wabwe talina kyakoze.
Was Gulu given city status?
Yes.
Gulu was. It was among
naye nga president abaddeyo recent toy campaigns nga teri masannyalaze. So abeggulu maze obategeeza kyo abeggulu mbadde maze obategeeza kyo badde ogamba bwe kibanga ekifo kyo kirimu kirakinga masannyalaze na biki
amazzi. So
abeggulu masannyalaze tebakola ki tebalina. Going back ku nsonga gye yogeddeko
tebalina completely, or are you saying it's on and off?
On and off.
Yeah, that's a word. When you say tebalina, that means they don't even have
eziri ne tebazikozesa bulungi bakola enguudo bakolaga dibengalye so yabagambye nti kuno agenda kubeera mukambwe nnyo ayagala okubanga oluguudo balukolebwa walakata yiwa malamu and then nyiga so kati ekyo bodogamba takyayogera si bakyayogera era yakizudde
kati what we want we don't expect the president in his manifesto okugamba nti tugenda kukola you either do it
or not do it ekirala butunenye enguudo zino eno Latifa inaka tuwetu break inaka tukangambye nti walo district emu yazzayo ssente nga bagamba tezikoze naye enguudo zaabwe embi nnyo ebiseera tutunenye nnyo obukulembeze bw'aba MPs ne waggulu ne tuleka local government bukulembeze obwo ba chairpersons ba districts ba mayor baani abiseera ebisinga enguudo ezimu tulina enguudo nga za government ne za local government tuba tulina enguudo za council nti council ino zikolako nga council y'ekitundu ne za government eya wakati naye butunenye ebiseera ebisinga enguudo za council anazo tezikolebwako ate nga lusi ne budget zijja Burufu nonenya MP nenga nesende zazze nga life bwangambye sende je nizibera ku district yawo nezituula nezitakola financial year negwako neziddeyo ebiseera ebisinga ne kivanti abamu okumugaba contract muneno bagala okulyako sajja najja nagamba nti oluguudo balisa sente bwezi zino okukola oluguudo nenga abalaba omuntu ajja okusaba contract eyo tagenda kuzza muzigo ekyokubira sajja badya sente ne bazi holdinga ne baziteeka mu bank bazikola amagoba so nga bafiriza munnansi kati ebintu bino tulemenya okutunulira abantu bena fana Uganda tujjenye amaaso government ya waggulu oba MP tunene ne bameya bano bakyamaanyi ba district bakola ki tugeze okuba tufollowing town clerk batunye bageze okufollowinga enguudo zino bakitezikolebwa tumanye omuntu amanye n'oguudo lulina kukolebwa central government oba local government ebintu bitegeere tutandike okuba nga tufollowinga naye nga tuzukuke tufitandike okuba nga tubanje nti enguudo n'oluguudo lwaki ndo central government oba local government kubanga zo sente ebiseera zijja naye sente zisobola kubanga zidda nayo nga tutegedde nga tena kyezikoze naye gwesa nembeera MP takoze gusooka weebuuza ani alina okukola ekyo
and that calls for civic education. These members of parliament, these local councils, wherever you're going down to the villages, help them understand who is supposed to do what. That's a very important part of the discussion. And besides, the other problem that is killing our country and has always killed our country is corruption. Whatever, they make a road, Maram. Kati, that road is not even going to last 2 years. Less than 1 year, actually. And then now, instead of using finances to put Maram on another road, they're going to come back and repair this road. And that's the biggest problem we have.
Latifa nenguudo nyingi ezikolebwamu ebiseera ebisinga nja tukanye wano okola oluguudo nga tokoze emyala era ngolaba enguudo zonna tulaba tezina drainage abalima bulimi luguudo flat era amazzi galina okuba nga galutta naye singa tukola ekintu nekibanga olina ebyalo byogendamu tufunga ekkubo lya ttaka naye nga amazzi gatambula era nga enkubo libaddewo myaka na myaka just because baaliko ne baliwo amazzi gakola ki ne bano bajja ne bawakatabuwala kasiga dibengale ne badduka misinde kuba sente bagala ozifissa
ekintu kyenayogera I think last week ekyabantu okubanja government and there's lack of singa bugambye in addition to what you're saying lack of civic education nawe kyeyogedde nti batandika okubanja abalindazi abantu tebamanya ni gwe bagenda kubanja tuli last week nagamba nti days back or years back nga abantu bakyasasula omusolo baguyita gwa omusolo gw'omutwe ebiseera ebyo wawangayo sente nga you need to account for it ng'omanja accountability nti tuwaddeyo sente naye oluguudo lwaffe lwaki lukyalimu ebinnya naye kakati omusolo bagujja ku muntu ogw'okumutwe kati bakuteeka ku gundi nti wengula essimu eno oli agula essimu nga tamanyi
asasudde omusolo
ogenda ku dduuka n'ogula sukaali n'otamanya nti osasudde omusolo so abantu tebamanyi nti gavumenti ebakuŋŋaanyamu omusolo era ezo sente zebabajjamu ze zirina okuddayo zibakole ki zikole services so kati abantu bamanyi bwogamba nti babanje ekkubo tomanyi bwebagenda tandika they don't even feel that pain oba libeerawo nga oliri bwe liri libeerewo oba libeerawo litya libeerewo so people don't know how to demand for accountability for whatever money that is being collected from them.
Well, there you go. Now, as we're moving forward from the FDC Oyam's story, actually, Amuriat said that he was going to pay police officers 1.2. How do they say it in Uganda?
Yasusiza.
Yasusiza, what Bobby Wine said. and we're looking at, like, it looks like that's where a lot of candidates are fighting for, having the army in their, in their team. And some people have said that's quite illegal and they're not supposed to fight for the army support, because what the army does is protect the country and the sitting government, and they said it's not right. But the other promise that he made while he was in Katakwi is that he's going to give people 100,000 per head each month. He promised that. And that's what I'm saying. Now, when he becomes president.
Starting May.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. When you make these promises, are you guys going to keep it, or we're just saying it for the fun of the fact that we...
No, a lot can
Anyways.
No, but
I think here's the thing. Fair, about media, we need to also follow up on these things. Ugandans, we have a problem. We jump from one conversation to another very fast.
No,
something will
Uganda
happen
is a
today.
Uganda is a movie and it's a series. every day you expect a new episode.
But that's the problem. And then we leave the last episode to come out to the new
episode.
It's very funny.
Episode campaign.